Welcome back to the Paddle and Fin Podcast Network. We're brought to you by Pelican, built tough for all situations. Go to pelican.com. YakGadget, for all your fine kayak fishing accessory needs. Go to YakGadget.com. Eastport Marina, on the beautiful shores of Dale Hollow Lake. For all your lodging, kayaking, and fishing needs, go to eastport.info. Now let's get this show started.
Hey guys, John Rapp. Let's do this. It's Takeover Tuesday.
Welcome to a special edition of the Rusty Hook Podcast, streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. 1 hour of straight talk regarding tournament news, angler profiles, gear reviews, and more. Now let's get our show started by joining with John Rapp, our host.
Okay, hey, welcome back, guys. We're streaming via Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. We are streaming on the Paddle and Fin networks, as well as my personal pages and the Rusty Hook page. So it's season 3, episode 35, and it's September. Wow, where did the summer go? I mean, it's crazy. It just seems like that, we were back in February and March promoting the Paddle and Fin event at Dale Hollow, and I was getting all my gear ready to go down to Guntersville for the KBF Ambassador event. Had a great time. I mean, just sitting here, I've been recapping what I've personally done for the year, and I've worked a bunch of shows. January, I was in East Tennessee. March and April, I was in different areas of Virginia at Just Fishing and Journey Outdoors, working some open houses for them. I mean, it's been a great 2023. I mean, when you sit and look at it up to this point, I know the guys that I went to Guntersville with are trying to talk me into go in up to Pennsylvania, Susquehanna in October, and looks like I might go with them. Some scheduling changes for me have happened where I may be free to go. Just got to basically sit down and try to work out some details here with Beth and myself and see if it's feasible. So I hope you guys have had a great 2023. I haven't in the 10 years I've been kayak fishing. This has probably been one of the years that I have not participated in a bunch of tournaments. I think maybe this year I probably could I can say I've done less than 10. And in years past, I would have done 10 before the month of June. With onlines, got involved with all the different organizations out there that you can get involved in. KBF, all the nonprofits that put on tournaments, different local clubs with their live events and their online events. I mean, you can rack up a bunch of tournaments, spend quite a bit of money doing it too. But I haven't done that this year, and I don't know why. I have to say maybe I've got a little complacent, a little lazy. But that's one of the things I've been sitting here, my notepad, writing my notes, like, for goals for 2024. Granted, I retired from the job that I was working back in March, full time, and then I picked up gigs with Feelfree and ZPRO on the side. helping those organizations. It's always nice to be recognized as someone that can be an asset. So I ask you to look in your heart. Are you somebody that can help and be an asset to an organization, especially in our sport? I mean, our sport's growing quite fast. I think it hit a peak this past year, past 18 months. We've seen how roller coaster, you're going up. Well, COVID hit, and because of COVID, the sport grew, and it grew extremely fast. You couldn't find kayaks in stores. People were buying them left and right. And then, so that put the manufacturers buying more plastic and spending more money on production. And then, as of the end of last year, we had that plastic shortage. The guys couldn't get stuff made, and then there was a glut of kayaks out there, so people really didn't need to buy anything the past year and a half. Hopefully, with all the new products that have been coming out, people will start selling their stuff, because we all know the guys in the tournament systems, those boats go fast. They always want the newest and best, and I'm one of them. I got to tell you, I do like the newer boats. Company I work with, Feelfree Kayaks, came out with a couple of new boats this year. Both of them pedal drives on an old platform, the Moken. They upgraded the Moken series and put a pedal drive on them, and they are wickedly smooth and fast. I mean, that boat uses the Ocean Kayak hull system. It's the way it's designed. You got the tri hull, you got the V hull, and all those. But this is Ocean hull. It's more smooth. It sits in the water, not sits on top more than a tri hull that's designed to sit down in the water, and then it cups the water around the system. And I'm no expert. I can't explain it very well. Have never been one of those type guys that can articulate designs, but all I know is the Moken is fast, relatively stable. I'm a big boy at 260, so I'm not one of those guys that's going to jump up and stand around a lot and fish. But I can do it if I need to. But it's a great boat. It's been designed well. It's fast. They've done some nice work to it with the built-in system to the side where you can steer with your rudder system in the back. So it's a pretty nice boat, guys. If you're looking for a relatively nice, low-cost pedal drive, make sure you go look up the Feelfree Moken 10 and 12.5. They both just came out. They're both on the website, and they got good sales going on. So that's the other thing about this time of year, September. If you've been paying attention, and I mentioned it last week, that if there's a lot of sales going on. So if you've signed up over the years, and I know if you're like me, Cabela's, Bass Pro, all the different locations, even your specialty stores online for baits and soft plastics and stuff like that, check your junk mail, because there's going to be some sales put in there. Of course, make sure it leads back to the stores. Don't get no spam or any gotcha type spyware, but make sure it's something that you've actually signed up for. And you might go check those sales and see if there's something you can save $10 or $15 on that you've been wanting over the year. Yeah, I mean, it's been a great year so far, and then it's been a tough year as well. You guys go back to my June personal page on the John Rapp page and look at the video I posted. Where My personal best was recorded, but not cost me an iPhone. Stupid on my part. In the 10 years I've been fishing, I've lost 3 iPhones. I lost one at the, I want to say Stonewall Jackson. I lost another one on Kentucky Lake during the 2016 National Championship. No, I think it was a 16. Probably 17. Yeah, it was 17. 16 was the first one. 15. Yeah. 15 was the Open. KBF Open. So you guys, here's some things about what we got planned for 2023, the rest of the year. I know if you're like me here on the Eastern Seaboard, Mid-Atlantic area, our time is dwindling when it comes to bass fishing. Probably have good solid month left of good fishing, and then when mid-October hits, it's when the bite starts getting tough, and you've got to adjust your techniques. I just spent $40 on a couple of frogs. Hope to have them this time next week. I'm gonna take them out here to the marsh and see if I can catch that 22.5-inch bass that I lost my iPhone with. Maybe I can get that fish back. This time I'll have a better camera system now that I got this Insta360. It's a nice system. And what's really cool about this Insta360, I'm a little scatterbrained right now. I'm throwing off all kinds of information, but I picked it up a couple weeks ago and have been using it, and I really like it. If you go to my Facebook page, I just did a 10-minute video where Beth and I went Saturday up to the West Virginia Nature Center. Now, folks in West Virginia, if you've never been there, you need to go. And you might as well go ahead and mix it in with the changing of the seasons and catch the beautiful fall colors up there. But the West Virginia Nature Center is at French Creek, West Virginia, right outside of Buchanan. And so it's off Route 33 right there. You can get off at Weston if you're going up 77, and then go toward Buchanan, get off Buchanan's. Google French Creek Game Park. But it basically has a nice piece of property that's got bison, elk, black bear, gray wolves, mountain lion, bobcats, coyotes. It's got enclosures for snakes and frogs and turtles, lizards. The one thing that was missing when I went was the otter exhibit was not up and functioning. They have a wild boar. It's a nice place. Lots of birds of prey. But if you go watch my video, you can get an idea how it's set up. I did 10 minutes of video. I used about 4 or 5 videos from my Insta360, and then I, of course, used my iPhone 14 for some video as well. But that's the other thing, guys. When you're out there doing your fishing, would love to see more content from the folks out there that are out in their kayak, either with GoPro, any type of video system that you have that you can mount on your kayak. Put it to use and record yourself. Get some things out there on video that you can share with us, your friends and family, and your followers on your personal pages to show them what's so fascinating and invigorating about being out in Mother Nature's beautiful setting and a piece of plastic in a kayak where other people can't get. We can fish off banks, we can crawl around the banks, but when you're on a bank around 10, 12, 15-acre ponds or impoundments or floating down a river that most people can't get access to because you're going to do an 8 or 10 mile float, and maybe 6 or 8 miles of that is in areas that people can't get to because of brush walking private property or whatever. It's not public access. So you can share some really cool video. Like some of the video that I got when I was down in Virginia about 3 weeks ago, when I went and hung out with uh, Jody Queen and Tony Bryant, Tyler Spence, and Arnold. I mean, we camped out for a few days, got video of some nice smallmouth. Uh, Eagles were flying around above me. I didn't get none of that. But I mean, some of that stuff is so wonderful to do and things to share with the people that follow you. Anyway, let's take a quick break and we'll come back and just keep talking about some random thoughts.
ZPRO Lithium, serious power in 12, 24, and 36 volt applications. Bluetooth capable. Go to ZPRO Lithium for more. DuBro Fishing, American-made marine applications and locally manufactured soft plastics. Visit DuBroFishing.com. Feelfree Kayaks, paddle, pedal, or power. There's something for everyone. Check out feelfreeus.com. YakGadget, American-made kayak fishing accessories and gear. Go to YakGadget.com for your rigging needs. Ace Adventure Resort, West Virginia's #1 destination for hiking, biking, ziplining, whitewater rafting, and more. Check out aceraft.com. Westbrook Supply Co, Georgia's premium supplier for all your kayak rigging supplies and fishing equipment. Go visit westbrooksupply.com.
All right. Thanks, guys, for hanging out with me here. Appreciate everybody hanging out and just chilling with old John Rapp here on the Paddle and Fin podcast page. Streaming live via Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. Be on the Paddle and Fin pages as well as my pages on and Rusty Hook. So, hey, yeah, I just was looking at a message here. One of the guys was talking about being qualified for a KBF event, I think the national championship. So I haven't even paid attention this year to see exactly where the next championship's going to be, if it's back in Tennessee or not. But if you ever get the opportunity to go fish Kentucky Lake or Lake Barkley, I would highly recommend it. Now, granted, it can be rough. It's big water, so make sure you do your research on it. But the Cumberland River is nice, and that area of Tennessee, Kentucky area, definitely go. And speaking of going, and I touched base on it a little bit earlier, is go ahead to set your calendars, guys, and mark your calendars down for April of 2024. And the Paddle and Fin podcast hosts are going to be putting on, in conjunction with Eastport Marina, their Dale Hollow event. It's a 2-day event. I think it's April 22nd to 23rd or 23rd to 24th of 2024. It's already up on Tourney X. You can go look at the details. But make sure you go ahead and get signed up for that. I can tell you that if it's anything like last year, which I suspect it will be as well or better, that the big bass payouts will be over $1,000 a day. So big fish were caught last year. We moved the timing for the event from early April to the mid-late April. So about 3 weeks later, and that's when we're starting to catch those fish around that area, moving to beds. The winner last year on day 2 had over 100 inches of fish, where he found some big mamas on beds dragging them in. So, yes, Dale Hollow, East Tennessee, April of 2024. Sign up. Mark your calendars now. But speaking of calendars, I don't know what you guys got planned for the rest of the year. I think I'm going to go out and do a little fishing myself tomorrow here on the lake. West Virginia folks, if you haven't hit Summersville Lake, better hit it now. They're going to start drawing down the water probably this weekend. or actually probably Thursday, which is day after tomorrow. I think the test run is today, to start gully season. And for you folks that aren't familiar with that, the gully season is the whitewater season for this area, and it's a national recognized event. They have Class 5 and Class 6 rapids that they're running because of the release from the dam. But techniques, late summer, you might want to start thinking about adjusting your techniques in the times that you're going out on the water. Water temperatures are going to start cooling more and a lot faster now that the daytimes are, excuse me, are shortening. Although, you know, one thing that's going on right here, right now, as a matter of fact, today here in the West Virginia area, they were predicting a record-breaking day for heat temperature. It's going to reach close to 90 degrees. And all week, it's supposed to be in the upper 80s. So that might not be something that we have to worry about too much. But you might take a watch your barometric pressures, weathers, and see what the bite's going to be like, because all that's going to start coming into play real quickly for all of us, and the tactics are going to have to change. And that, my friends, was the rusty hook thought of the moment. You gotta like that. Go down the old rusty hook slam. But so yeah, I was going through and looking at, thinking about talking about topics for this show. You know, did a show with Sean a couple nights ago for the Noob show, and interviewed him regarding his win for his very first tournament win. And be interesting to hear about everybody, to just make a post on here if you got time about your first tournament win, when it was, what you did to make it successful, and help folks out that are getting new into the tournament scene on what the techniques were that were successful for you on the type of body of water that you were fishing. So, for example, I won a tournament in 2016 in September, this time of year, and I was on Bluestone Lake, but I was on the river, as far back into the river that runs into the lake as you can get, and you can't paddle anymore. It runs right up into the shoals and rapids. And what I was doing was I was river fishing a lake event. I would get up into the shoals as far as I could go, and I would throw a Cinco right at daybreak into the rocks and let it drag down through the water. And as I was doing that, I was working center of the river, and I kept working my way over to the banks. So I got over to the bank where the water wasn't quite as swift, and threw into some rocks, because the rocks in that area of the river are outcropped. And as I threw in between a couple of rocks, it boiled up in there, and I had a 21.75, still my personal best, smallie, smashed that Cinco. So I got that fish in, and I was fishing with some buddies of mine. And there's a video of this up on my YouTube page if you want to go look at it. But I think it might be even my opening, one of the ones that you marked. But I did a 10 or 12 minute video because I videoed most of it. But I got that 21.75 in, and then I was floating downstream, and the guys went up behind me a couple hours later, and I was just a dead stick. It was a black and blue Yamamoto Cinco, and I threw it out there as far as I could, and I would just let it come down the current, and I would tighten up my slack, and caught another. I think that one was a 1975. So I had two. This is back in before everybody went to the 5 fish, so it was a 3 fish limit per day, and so I had a 2175, 1975, and then I was able to cap it off with almost like a 16-inch fish. So I went in. It was a 2-day tournament. I went into day one with over 56 inches of fish, or right at 56 inches of fish. Closest guy, and another guy had a really great day too, was sitting right at 50 or 51. I had like a 5-inch lead. Day two, that overnight we had a bunch of rain. It flooded everything. So they basically limited the waters to right below the dam and in the lake. And I went right below the dam, and the struggle bus was the tick was what was going on there, man. I think for the whole day I caught 7 fish for the whole 8 hours, and I caught all those fish in like a 45-minute period. It's almost like the fish were moving around, and they came through that section of water that I was fishing, and I ended up catching a couple of 14-inch fish and 13-inch fish. Nothing big, but it was just enough to secure the victory for me. So I won a big fish for day one, which was like $500. And then I think for the tournament, I won $1,200. So it was a good payday. So, but everything, again, was at the time, 2016, I still wasn't comfortable throwing bait casters. So I was still fishing primarily with all spin casters. I was using, at that time, I didn't have my custom made rods. I was using what you bought at Walmart. Um, and actually, I still have a bunch of these. Guys, if you're looking for something affordable and they're kayak fisherman friendly, go look at the Berkeley Amp fishing rod. I think they're $39, $49, but they have a short butt on it. And when I go to ICAST, I actually met the owner, or not the owner, the designer of that rod, and told him, I said, man, it's a great rod. Um, and he pretty much at that time was like, yeah, I designed that rod. It wasn't for kayak fishing, but it really turned out to be a really good rod that they were using and designed that was kayak angler friendly. But it does have, it's a really nice rod. It's light, it's sensitive. You got to be careful with it. Don't use too heavy of a line or you will break it, because I think I caught, I want to say it was a catfish here on Summersville Lake. And when I set the hook on that fish, it was one of those times it just didn't cut it on a Cinco, dragging the bottom like I like to do. I probably was in, when I cast it into the water, it was probably in 3 foot of water, but I was dragged as I was pulling away from the bank. It got down into 7 to 10 feet of water. That's where I hooked that fish. And it took me from one side of the lake to the other side of the lake. And this was the area that the lake was sort of funneled. So it wasn't like it drugged me 3 or 4 miles. It drugged me about 300 yards. And what was bad about it for me at that time was when I set the hook, had a little bit of slack when it wrapped around the bell. Well, that fish was pulling me so hard, I couldn't make no slack to get it loose, and it drugged me over there. And I basically, make a long story short, I lost the fish and ended up breaking the tip on my Ant fishing rod. But go take a look at those Berkeley Ant. They're great rods. Anyway, going back to what I was talking about there a minute ago, go ahead. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. Excuse me. Take a few moments and tell everybody if you have won a tournament, your setup, how you approached the day, almost like how your recap was. If you have a recap from 5 years ago, go copy and paste it, throw it in there, and show the folks, you know, how you were successful and how you approached that day, so they can learn from what you did and maybe incorporate that into their bag of tricks. You know, and let's recap what we've talked about here. You know, we've talked about um, video. Make sure, you know, if you can, when you're out practicing or having fun or just going out fishing for a fun day, take your video cameras out with you and record some content. You know, I talked about it last week, but I run a team with ZPRO Lithium, our fishing team. We just recently concluded a 2-day video short competition. It could have been done any way you wanted to do it, using any format. You could have used the Reels format. You could have done landscape format with the video like you would see on the YouTube or what you're looking at right now. And just had to be a 30 to 60-second video. The only requirements is you had to at least have a picture of your battery in the video. So you could go out, you could fishing, you know, pumping it up, your boat going through the water, picture of your battery, you know, all that, and then, you know, just almost like a reel, you know, make a reel type video. You could take and use all those programs out there where you could take 20 pictures and shove it in there and it would animate them. But it's just a competition to try to get people involved. Just stuff like that with the stuff that you enjoy fishing with, whether it's a reel, a rod, your boat, something on your boat from Yak Attack or YakGadget, you know. And what you can do by doing stuff like that, when you promote it, you put it up on there, hashtag all the companies that you feature in that video. Show them that you, one, use their product, and two, are successful with it and you enjoy it. Because stuff like that gets noticed. I can tell you where I run these teams, I've got programs that I use that I track hashtags. And I'm always looking for somebody that's actively promoting. It can be whether it's one of my team members now or somebody that's a little bit hungry out there and wanting to become part of that team, and they're actually using the hashtags to show those companies that I use your product, I've spent money on it, and I like it, and I want to represent it. So that's one of the things that you can do with your videos. And then also talk about your personal experiences, as I'm doing now. You know, it don't have to be an hour long. It can be 10 minutes long or 5 minutes long, but impart a little wisdom or a little bit of your spin on how you do things, and see if it's something that someone else can be like, man, you know, I like that idea. I'm going to incorporate that. Because everybody, even all of us, everybody's always looking to add a little bit to the toolbox. Knowledge is power, and you know our goal is to go out and catch fish. Do we want to catch big fish? Of course. I love catching 18, 19, 20-inch smallies or largemouth. But ultimately, the goal is to catch fish, whether it's a 10-inch fish, a 12-inch fish, or whatever fish are biting. And I'm talking bass. You know, I've been working with one of my nephews. I think he's 20. He's getting into the kayak fishing. He hasn't really fished a lot in his life, but I handed down a couple of my older kayaks to him, and him and his brother, and they're getting out. They do some fishing here and there, and I keep getting messages from him. I went fishing with him once, and I think I talked about this a couple months ago, but the young man, it was a struggle bus to watch him fish. I wanted to go over and help him so much. But that's one of the things about fishing is you got to learn from experience. We can tell you, we can impart wisdom and knowledge to you about so many techniques and ways to do things, but you have to absorb it. You have to look at it, and you have to incorporate it into what you do. And I'm hoping that his lack of success in catching fish doesn't keep him from continuing to go out trying. Because fishermen, especially tournament fishermen, do it for the competitiveness of the sport. Some people do it for the camaraderie, and the friendships, and the social aspect of the sport. A lot of us do it for both. And that may be one of the reasons why I'm not getting out as much as I used to, is because the person that I love fishing the most with is pretty banged up now and is not capable of getting out to do what she used to do with me. Uh, so, granted, as you heard that ping, I've got my buddies from Feelfree. They're talking right now about the KBF National Championship and qualifications to get there, and what it takes nowadays compared to what it did 7-8 years ago. 8-9 years ago, to get into the KBF National Championship, you had to be a qualifying member from a ambassador club, and you didn't get in just because you fished one tournament like that, as it is, I think, maybe like now. Nowadays, you had to be some of the best of the best. Back then, you had to be some of the best of the best. Um, I can remember when I was fishing with Mountain State Kayak Anglers back in 2014. We only sent like 7 guys, and that was um, top 7 from the end of the year. And then we got a couple extra slots then. The following year, we sent, I want to say 10 or 11. And then we sent 18 the following year. So, and then the following year, in 2016 or 16, it was like 18. Because we got, if you won a tournament, you got in. We had 5 tournaments. And then they gave you so many slots for membership that were part of your membership versus members in KBF. So if you had 100 members for your club, but 50 of them were part of KBF, then you got 5 slots just for that toward the end of the year. So it was a good concept. Might be something that they're looking at redoing. I don't know, but nowadays, getting into the KBF National Championship is not quite as difficult. If you just go fish a KBF event, become a member, I believe you're capable of going. But I don't know. I've now that I'm not a tournament director and don't run the West Virginia Kayak Anglers like I did for the last 4 years, from 17 to 20, 21, I've not kept up with all that. But anyway, I appreciate you guys hanging out with old John Rapp tonight. Rambling around here, just thinking about different things as conversation come up. Make sure you go check out all the other Paddle and Fin podcast shows that we have. We've got 6 or 7 shows that are active right now. Should be up every night. Noobs, Final Cast, and the others. Can't think of them off the top of my head. But anyway, September. I know all of you guys out there are ramping up for your last event of the year. A lot of you are looking at possibly winning Angler of the Year with the clubs that you fish, Rookie of the Years. And I wish you well. And I look forward to reading your recaps on your events. And make sure you share it with us here at the Paddle Fin podcast page. But hope you guys have a great day. Nothing but love with you. As always, if you go fishing somewhere, make sure you have a travel plan with your family and friends so they know when you leave and when you're coming back. While you're out there fishing, always wear your PFD. Safety should always be your first concern so you can get home safe. God bless you. Be safe. John Rapp, we'll talk to you again soon.